Alright, quick little test today, because I've got some things I want to get done. I had an idea that popped in my head literally when I woke up this morning, and I'm going to test it out and see what I can do. My next guitar that I want to crackle, the original idea was to do sort of a blue, similar to this color as the bass, do a white crackle on top. I've played around with the idea of doing a fade with this light blue in the middle and then a darker blue, like a navy blue. I think the color I have in a Rust-Oleum is called a deep blue. Do that as the outer edge of the guitar, and then a white crackle on top. Tested it and it looks cool, but problem I've noticed with the white crackle is that it doesn't seem to the colors don't pop the same way that they do with the black crackle. And so I'm trying to think of ways to, I did my white crackle guitar. It's got a red bass. It looks really cool. But when I've done tests of the same red with the black on top, it just looks so much better. So my plan today, I'm gonna do a couple colors, different combinations here. I'm gonna start with the blue, 2 coats of this Rust-Oleum 2X Oasis Blue. I'm gonna dry. I'm trying to keep all my times pretty close to what I've been doing on the guitars. So guitars, from the time I stopped doing the coat that I'm on, I hit my stopwatch and I go for about 4.5 minutes drying before I move on to the next coat. And I do that from the first coat all the way up until I do the crackle. So every single layer that I do. So I'm gonna do 2 layers of this. Hey girl, you're in my way. I'm gonna do 2 layers of this. You're crazy. 2 coats of the blue. This might change, but my next coat I'm gonna do 1 coat of the 2X clear. Again, same dry times. And before I go on, the way I've been doing it with the fluorescence is I'm doing 3 coats of the fluorescence to get full saturation of that color. Then I do 2 coats. I've been doing an enamel clear. The 2X clear seems to react the same way, so this is for test. These are a little cheaper, so I'm just going to go with the 2X today. Normally I would go 3 coats of that fluorescent, 2 coats of clear, and then my crackle on top. So that's 6 coats in addition to about 3 lighter coats of a primer underneath a couple days before. Today, again, for testing. Get out of here, dog. Again, for testing, I'm going to go 2 coats of the blue, 1 coat of the clear. Then my coat right before the crackle is going to be a black. What I'm anticipating, and the whole reason for this test, is if you've seen my other videos, I've managed to get multicolor base crackles with this similar method. What I'm afraid of is I don't want to go and spray a guitar and put a whole, it takes a whole can of that fluorescent. I don't want to spray a whole can of that fluorescent and then put this black on top, only to find out that it does not pull away enough to really reveal that fluorescent color underneath. So going with 1 coat of the clear, 1 coat of the black, and then I'm going to hit it with the crackle. We're going to start with the blue. I'm going to move on to this orange next. So again, Rust-Oleum 2X, real orange. Seems like another color that in theory look really cool with white, but the color contrast just isn't enough. So I'm hoping if I can get some black layers in there that outlines, it separates the orange from the white, it'll make it much more of a contrast, and the colors will just pop. I keep using that word, but they'll pop better. We'll see. I may do this one, the magenta, I don't know, just for the heck of it. We'll see how I'm feeling and how the first one goes. If I have to change my method, we'll see what I do. I don't know, but we're about to give this a shot. We're going to start spraying, and I'll bring you back in once I'm getting ready to do the crackle so you can see how it reacts. See what happens. I'm going to let it start cracking on its own before I hit it with the heat gun. Alright, the paint is starting to warp a little from hitting it too much heat. So, not exactly the outcome I was hoping for, but we've got some progress there. I'm thinking, ooh, still wet in the middle. This big section's actually moving. That's cool, I haven't seen that happen. This whole section right here is actually sliding from the weight. Paint underneath is still wet. I don't know how well you can see. There's some real stringy spots here, and I'm guessing this is from doing the clear coat before the black. The blacks, as it's shrinking, it's mixing in with that clear coat and causing some little stringy bits there. It's a cool effect. It's not what I was looking for, so I think I'm going to retest this and probably pull out the clear coat and try it without the clear. So instead of going 2 coats with the blue and then a coat with the clear, I will probably do 3 coats with the blue. I mean, it's probably not super necessary, but I'm gonna do it anyway, just because I put a lot of paint on the guitars, so I'm trying to simulate that. Probably go 3 coats with the blue, 1 coat with the black, and I went kind of heavy on the black too, so maybe I did a little too much there, so I'll back off on the black just a touch, and then hit it with white and see if we can get it more to how I've done them in the past. And one other thing, I've had this issue a lot where I've got a really big chunk of just whatever that crackle color is. Usually it's the white, but I've had some issues with the black too. And I think what it is just with these panels. I haven't really experienced it to this size on a guitar. And I think what it is these panels just they're a little concave. They dip in the middle. So as I'm spraying all this paint, most of the paint wants to settle down, so the thickest layers are in the middle, and that doesn't want to dry the way the outer edges do. Again, I think I tried to lighten up on the black, but I still may have gone a little too heavy. Still getting a really large area in the middle there where there's no cracking, which I'm not a fan of, but honestly, I'm getting less cracking here. I got my orange off to the side, if you can see it. I'm actually getting ready to put the black on there, so I timed it so that I'd see what happened to this one before I actually do anything to that one. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pretty light coat of the black on there. Just enough to cover everything, maybe give it 2 minutes, because that's about how long it takes me to spray the full guitar for a whole coat of something. Give it 2 minutes, then hit it with the white while it's still fairly wet, and we'll see what happens there. This is not turning out how I was expecting today, but you're not all winners. Well, a little more success here. Still not quite getting, I'm still seeing the stringing here, so I don't think it was the clear that was causing that. I'll put these 3 together after they've had a few minutes to dry. A little bit more. Again, these are splitting still, but I'll sit all 3 of them together, kind of look at them after a few minutes as I'm cleaning up here, and I don't know, give a few final thoughts. Alright, so here's some final thoughts for today. As I'm thinking about how these tests went. They're not bad. They're not what I expected. So, for reference, and really this could just be for me if anybody ever even watches these. It's the day before Thanksgiving, 2025. I'm in Georgia. Temperature is in the high 60s out. It was roughly 70 when I started, but the sun's going down. It's almost 5 o'clock now. It was like 3:45, 4 o'clock when I first started setting up and getting going. So sun's been going down steadily. I don't have any sunlight out here to, bearing down on me. I got trees everywhere. I'm out in the woods, so trees blocking the sun. It's not warm, there's a cool feel to the air. My paint cans, I brought them from in the house, put them out here and just started spraying. I didn't attempt to warm anything up or anything at all. So all of that could be factors. Paint, definitely, there's a lot of variables as to how paint turns out. So this was attempt number 1. There's definitely been a lot more shrinking, a lot more cracking since we stopped. You can start to see a lot more blue coming around here. I'm not a fan of this big white area. I don't like that. But it is what it is. Attempt number 2, again with the blue. This one had a clear coat before a black coat. This one I did not do the clear coat. I did 3, I believe. Let's check the back here. 3 coats of blue, 1 coat of black, and then the Crackle. So on here I did 2 coats of blue, 1 coat of clear, 1 coat of black, and then the Crackle. So I was trying to keep the number of coats consistent across all 3 of them. This one definitely had more cracking. There's still a lot of white area though. You can see some of the blue, but we still have the stringiness. So I removed the clear, which I thought could have been what was causing the stringy black on here, and that obviously didn't solve the problem. Over here to the orange, same deal as the last one. I haven't written everything down, but it was 3 coats of orange, 1 lighter coat of black, and this was the lightest coat out of all of them. And then I went lighter on the white too, just to try and get more crackling, and I did get a lot more crackle. Got more orange coming through, which is nice, but again, there's still the stringiness. So I don't know when I've done my last 3 guitars. I'll have to go back and check on the Squire, the white and the red bass with the white crackle, but pretty sure on all 3 of them I have done 2 to 3 coats of the main color, 2 coats of clear enamel before doing the crackle. Today I used clear, the 2X Painter's Touch Rust-Oleum stuff. It's always Rust-Oleum that I'm using, so I'm staying in the same brand. But I don't know if this could potentially be from using the 2X instead of the enamel. So that could be a test for the future. Let me get some black enamel, and I've got clear enamel in there as well. I could again go back and redo this one using and that clear enamel might not even be necessary, because obviously we had cracking here. It's the stringiness, and I need the black to shift more. So lighter coat of black, shorter dry time on that one, just so that it can potentially move a little bit more. But see if maybe an enamel clears up these little stringy stuff we got going on here. So, and again, this could be, you know, I've had issues with the white. The black seems to work so much better. Even on my test panels, there have been very few times that I've had the black do some of these blocky areas. I have had it happen, but there have been less times where that's happened on the black than with the white crackle. So I feel like the white's a little more temperamental. I thought the blue was very temperamental until I did my pink and blue guitar that I did the other day. I've got a video up with that if anybody hasn't seen it, and it turned out killer. So I don't know. There's a lot to think about here. May come back and do some retesting. See, what I was really looking for, and it didn't even do it right. I was hoping for kind of a reverse of what we see here. So I wanted the black on the outer edges and the orange to be in the middle, so that you've got that contrast from white to black to orange, and then black to white again. So given how this turned out, I was going to say do the black as a base coat, do an orange on top. That way you get more splitting of the orange. You'd see more of the orange or the blue on top of the black. However, black's dark. That might require more colors of your lighter color to actually get the saturation you're looking for, in which case you may not get the cracking that you want as well. But at the same time, this whole test was just to kind of see if I could do this with fluorescence. So do fluorescent base colors with a white crackle and still have the color contrast there, because those fluorescents are so bright that I don't think they'd look very good with a white crackle by themselves. If you had a sort of a black outline that was framing them around the white, it would look a whole lot better. So anyway, I rambled on enough here. I'm gonna shut it down for the night and think about this, and maybe do some more testing in a couple days.